Hello, this is Brian Rosner with Biomed Publishing Group, and I'm pretty lucky to live just about 3-minute walk away from a beautiful forest area like this. Most of you know that I spend most of my time inside during the winter because of the snow, so it feels pretty good to get out. But even though I do like the outdoors quite a bit, I've been spending some time watching TV lately because my wife and my 9-month-old son are in Texas and I just don't know what to do with myself. So last night I watched the 9 DVD set from this April's LIA Foundation conference. It's LIA Foundation, which stands for Lyme-Induced Autism. I'm preparing a new book called The Lyme Autism Connection with the co-founder of the LIA Foundation, Tammy Duncan. And you could learn more about that DVD set if you want to watch them yourself at limebook.com/autism. But anyway, one of the presentations I found most interesting was that of Dr. Horowitz, who's a Lyme doctor in New York, who has seen about 11,000 chronic Lyme disease patients, according to what he said in his presentation. One of the things that Dr. Horowitz talked about that I found pretty interesting in some research that I've been doing on my own, kind of along the same lines, is dealing with the last 10% of chronic Lyme disease recovery. Now, Dr. Horowitz didn't exactly use those words to describe what he was talking about as far as the recovery process goes, but those are the words that I'm going to use. In fact, I should note that pretty much everything I say in this video is not the opinion of Dr. Horowitz. It's my opinion, just commenting on his presentation. But anyway, what I'm going to be talking to you about today are two aspects of the recovery process. Aspect number one is antibacterial treatments. Aspect number two is supportive treatments. And in the beginning of the recovery process, when somebody is very sick with Lyme disease, one needs to mainly focus on the antibacterial treatments because there's so much bacteria in the body that all the supportive treatments in the world aren't going to really do all that much. The body is being overrun by bacteria. In fact, focusing too much on supportive treatments in the beginning can sort of take your attention off of the bacterial load and, in my opinion, be sort of counterproductive. However, when you reach the end of the recovery process, I believe that a very interesting situation develops, and what basically happens is that 99.9% of the bacteria may be out of the body after completing effective antibacterial treatments such as Rife machine therapy or intravenous antibiotics or that type of thing. The problem is, even though 99.9% of the bacteria are out of the body, which you would probably agree with me is effectively all of them, there's just a few critters running around, some people still have a tremendous amount of symptoms. And we might ask why? How is that possible? They're almost all gone. What's the deal? What's going on? Well, basically what's going on is that the remaining bacteria are, even though they're very few, they are telling the immune system that there is still a problem. So the immune system is still behaving completely as if there were a ton of bacteria left. The immune system is still activated. There's still inflammation. There's still antibodies being produced. There's still TNF-alpha. The body is completely in disarray. The alarm is still being sounded that there is a bacterial infection. At this point in the process, you might just say, well, why not just kill all of them? Let's get rid of that last 0.1% of bacteria. That's a great idea. In practice, however, it seems to be fairly impossible. It's very difficult to get rid of that 0.1% of bacteria. They hide in very difficult to find locations in cartilage, deep in the eyeball, and places where you just can't get to them. And furthermore, these few bacteria keep reseeding the body with additional blebs and granules and cysts and L-form bacteria. So for all intents and purposes, at this point in the process, I'm going to go ahead and say that we may never get rid of that last 0.1% of bacteria. So this actually isn't a horrible thing. What it means is that instead we have to focus on supporting the body and sort of regulating the immune system to get back into the place where the immune system and the alarm is not going off, consistently. And that's basically what I wanted to talk to you about today. So the next year or two of my research, I believe, is going to focus not so much on antibacterial treatments. I believe we have that pretty much down. I believe that the combination of treatments discussed in my books, Lyme disease and Rife machines, and the top 10 Lyme disease treatments, Those books are available at lymebook.com. In my personal opinion, I'm not a doctor. However, I believe those treatments are fairly useful as far as antibacterial properties go. So again, the next couple years of my research are going to focus on these supportive treatments that will bring the immune system back into line and sort of quiet it down. What do these treatments look like? Well, there are a number of different things. I'll be talking about these in future blog posts, but they're mostly nutrients and immune system supporting supplements that will sort of bring things back into balance, including detoxification supplements. There's a new one that I was looking at today called Epicor, which is a cracked cell yeast supplement that has some immune system nourishment. So basically the concept that I want you to get from today is that in the beginning of therapy, you start with a lot of antibacterial treatments and the supportive treatments aren't quite as important. Toward the end of therapy, however, you can do all the antibacterial treatments you want and you just aren't going to kill that last 0.1%. You're basically spinning your wheels, and now it's time to focus on those supportive treatments. So I hope you'll join me over the next few months or few years while I do some research, and I plan to release some of my findings as time goes on the various discussion groups and also in the next annual report that I do. So this is Brian Rosner with Biomed Publishing Group. It's pretty silly of me. There's only a couple of roads that run through this area, and then there's thousands of acres of national forest, but I decided to do this video blog right near a main road, so sorry for that automobile noise in the background. I'll try to work with that a little bit better next time. Take care, and we'll see you later.